I understand there's been some confusion about the last couple of assignments, so I figured I would clarify where I'm coming from, and I think a long email probably would have been a little bit more painful than doing it this way for everyone involved. Um, One is, yes, the first assignment that you guys do is an individual assignment. This assignment is an individual assignment, and next week there is no team assignment. There's no paper. There's just DQs. There's going to be a lecture and some DQs. So let me kind of go through the logic of what's happening here. One is this week's assignment. The paper is long. It is two cases, and it's a little bit to figure out, but I think it's important because there's a couple of different principles here that are worth sort of looking at. One is sort of corporate social responsibility, which Cadbury was sort of a pioneer in that area. And the other one is how trusts affect a business, and how voting blocks of stock affect a business's long-term viability as an independent organization. So briefly, and I think I may have covered this in the lecture which goes with this, trusts are legal entities. So what's the purpose of a trust? The purpose of a trust is to hold assets with rules around it. So if you're a wealthy individual and you for some reason think that your child is an idiot, and if you leave them all the money, it'll be gone on a crazy lifestyle inside of a few years and they'll be left penniless, then what you might do is take your assets, your money, your stock, your houses, your cars, put them in a trust that is managed by a professional trustee. And the rules being you can only get so much per year, or that you can't spend money on things that aren't within this category. And so they put rules around the money so that that person who's an irresponsible person doesn't go crazy. Also, it avoids inheritance tax because you're not inheriting the money. The money is being passed from the original person to a trust, which is a legal entity like a corporation, and then that trust doles out the money. And as that money is doled out, that you'd have to, the recipient of the money would have to put in for sort of income tax on that money, but not the entire amount, just the amount that is being taken out. Similar things can happen if you're a good intentioned person and you want to leave a legacy behind of a public good. So you say, Andrew Carnegie left libraries behind. He was a crazy wealthy guy, one of the wealthiest guys of his age. And he took huge amounts of cash and stock and other assets and put them in trusts. And then those trusts would feed out money every year to fund public libraries in specific areas. So he did that for libraries. Cadbury did it for some other social goods. Hershey's done it for social goods. Kodak did it for social goods. So there's reasons why companies do this, right? They'll put money aside. How does that affect your voting? If you think about this, that trustee may be beholding to you on the first generation, but as this thing goes on over time and there are several different generations of trustees, are they beholding to the original benefactor? Maybe, maybe not. How does that affect our passing of the trust? Okay, so I want you to sort of look at that in the paper. I also want you to look at sort of the Quaker capitalism and the social corporate responsibility stuff that they're doing here and sort of build your paper around that. Okay, so it's a long paper because it's two cases and it involves some complex stuff, and therefore I decided that it may not be necessary to do discussion questions. Okay, now as far as the last week goes, I try not to give major assignments in the last week because I know you have other major assignments due in the last week. And the Bridgewater case is a very complicated case having to do with organizations' culture and having to do with legacy, having to do with how to move past impressive entrepreneurial founders and become sort of a sustaining organization. So I wanted to spend some time going through that in lecture and give you some ability to sort of codify that in discussions, but I don't think it's necessary for you to do a paper. So this assignment is big, next assignment is small. How's that? To sort of put this down to as succinctly as possible. All right. If there are questions about this, and I'm sure there probably will be, please do not hesitate to call me, text me, set a calendar appointment up with me. I don't mind. I got into this business because I like speaking to students and helping people sort of gain some of these odd concepts. So please And if you're wondering if people call me at odd hours, I got a phone call last night at 9:45 from a student. So you won't be the person calling me at 9:45 p.m. hopefully, but I picked up that call and we had a lovely conversation. Anyway, I look forward to hearing any questions, and I look forward to seeing your papers.